Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Multiple updates out today from Democrats and Republicans on the state of stimulus and what to expect going forward. Democrats and Republicans might decide this week to negotiate the next stimulus package with Congress, which hopefully means we can actually get Congress together to legislate, that is, make law, next week. Both sides are realizing that they need to conduct actual legislative action after Donald Trump's executive orders have been torn apart with criticism from not only the media and Democrats, but also been deemed ineffective by many economists, and many Republicans are realizing that the executive orders are not a popular premise to run their re-elections on. Remember, we're in a re-election year, an election year. Every single person in the House of Representatives is up for re-election, and many senators are up for re-election. Probably about a third of Republicans realize that, the executive orders we were expecting to be good for our re-election campaign are starting to realize, oops, they might not be, because the public is realizing that these executive orders may not do what they're intending to do. When this happens, when the public realizes, these executive orders aren't actually doing what they're supposed to do, then you can't be a politician saying the executive orders are great. It's not a great way to run a re-election campaign. That pressure is likely going to bring both Democrats and Republicans closer together this week as they realize, especially Republicans realize, all right, well, that option that we thought, that other, let's walk away from negotiations and go with the other option, might not be effective. Quick note, the YouTube course did officially launch today, and you could still lock in that pre-sale pricing today. The pricing changes tonight, and the course is live. Here's a quick overview of the state of negotiations now, especially incorporating some updates that we have. First, I want to just quickly mention we still do not know if the payroll tax cut, if it actually happens, will be 6.2% or 7.65%. That is up in the air. It's unlikely to begin for at least another 2 or 3 weeks, especially since employers are responsible for collecting and paying this tax. There is a rumor that continues to float around that Donald Trump will waive the payroll tax deferral portion if he's reelected. That's not what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump said he's going to work on getting the payroll tax deferral waived immediately, and they're working with the Treasury Department on solving this. And if he's reelected, then in January, they'll work on making the payroll tax cut permanently. So permanently cut the payroll tax. Republicans and Treasury Secretary Mnuchin says this will not defund Social Security. What they're going to do instead is they're going to take money from the general fund and use that to make sure Social Security remains funded. And that is how tax cuts are done. The money comes out of the general fund, which basically is a fancy way of saying they'll end up having to borrow more money the next time they do their budget. On evictions and foreclosure protections and rental assistance, no effective date, though Larry Kudlow says today on August 10th, it's Lauren's birthday, by the way, that they will absolutely freeze evictions. However, that is not what the text indicates. The text indicates that evictions and foreclosures will only stop if that would help prevent the spread of COVID. On enhanced unemployment, it's still not known if states do not contribute the $100 boost, if the people who are receiving the $100 boost will get the federal government's $300 boost, or if they're going to get zero. So it's still not known. If the governments don't contribute, will the government at least give the $300? And we're expecting these checks to go out no earlier than the end of August, and this is probably realistically only funded through the end of August or beginning of September. All right, furthermore, Steve Mnuchin says that he recognizes these executive orders are not perfect, but said that we needed to do something after negotiations fell apart on Friday, and that's why they recommended to Donald Trump to issue these executive orders. Steve Mnuchin also says that Pelosi was right, that we need more money for food insecurity, and now they suggest they have struck a deal on food insecurity, providing more money for programs like the SNAP program. Republicans still refuse the SALT tax deduction. Obviously, there is a large negotiation ongoing regarding state and local government funding. Liability protections are expected to be in the next proposal or the next legislation that comes. This is something that some were expecting Trump to do via an executive order, but that was not done. Furthermore, Steve Mnuchin says that we are not stuck at $1 trillion for the next proposal, and instead we will spend what we need to, and Trump wants to spend more money. At the same time, the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association says that at least 338,000 children had tested positive through July 30th, meaning more than a quarter tested positive in just 2 weeks. AKA, when reading these reports, you find that they're linking a spike in cases already to schools reopening, which many schools are just now starting to reopen as children go back to school. Some preschools have actually been open all summer. Both sides are in agreement on the $1,200 stimulus checks. However, the stimulus checks, they might die. They might go away if this negotiation lingers on through September. The pressure might fall away for stimulus checks. Both sides do also agree on additional PPP, Paycheck Protection Program funding. There's no mention of the EIDL right now in negotiations other than through a proposal that would increase the EIDL grants from $1,000 to $10,000, but that does not seem to be gaining traction right now. Instead, there's a debate on giving companies a second PPP loan if their revenues have declined 25% or 50%. The percentage figure is what's currently being debated. Right now, it appears that both sides are realizing that negotiations will likely continue this week. The executive orders were a short-term vacation from negotiations, essentially over the weekend, but the reality is a full bill is needed, just like you need to make sure you have your life insurance in as little as 5 minutes and your 2 free stocks with Webull via the links down below. Trump has tweeted that Democrats called him and now want to make a deal, and Chuck Schumer says they never called him. On COVID, cases have continued to trend downwards for about 2 to 3 weeks now. However, again, there are concerns that with schools reopening and a lack of money for schools to reopen safely, that schools may be a leader in a new spike of cases. California's director of public health also resigned Sunday due to a computer error that led to an underreporting of cases in California. There's your update for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time.